of jobs will be displaced or automated, right? So the math gives us about 78 million jobs, right? Net new jobs. So I want you to focus on these numbers, right? More jobs are being created than destroyed. The whole narrative of AI is going to take all of our jobs is incomplete. The real stories is that jobs will change, and it is the people who adapt who will thrive. So when we look at the tech landscape right now in the UK, and you can read almost all the reports available. There are a few statistics about 39% of employee skills will need to transform by 2030, and that is now less than 4 years away. And this is where it gets interesting. AI's impact is hitting high-paying roles first. And also low wage jobs, right? So we're seeing jobs from lawyers, consultants, analysts. These roles are seeing transformation right now. And in the UK, we are seeing a drop in job postings for AI exposed roles, but that doesn't mean that those jobs have vanished. They've evolved. And if you look at the numbers on the screen here, that should give you a bit of motivation to really, as they say, lock in, and I'll show you how to do that. So when we think about technology, it's not just about those coding roles. Now, when I say the future of work, that is where you should be looking, because these roles will need people who can work side by side with technologies, mainly AI, which is all the hype right now. Right? So it doesn't mean that you need to be someone who understands the coding language and whatnot, right? It's all about, are you a problem solver? Are you curious? Can you communicate? Can you understand and really dissect problems? Those are really the areas that you can play in to sort of level up. So I want to know in the chat whether you're looking to transition into a new area or you're someone who sort of reads the headlines and is scared. I want to know, what is your biggest fear when it comes to technology? Is it that maybe timing is the issue? Do you feel that you're too old from starting or pivoting? Or is it that you don't have that technical background? Or is it a time and money sort of resources thing? Or is it imposter syndrome? I want to know in the chat. Okay, perfect. Right. Perfect. I am so glad no one's put it in a 1, but if you're about to put in a 1, that is okay. This is what this session is about, being honest with yourself, understanding where you are, so that you can go where you want to go. Okay. So we will address all of these fears. I really like that honesty, a known fear of where to start. Someone says none of this. That is great. That is great. And it shows you, if you're someone who's afraid right now, there is a reality where you're not afraid. So imposter syndrome. And the great thing about technology right now, if you're someone who suffers from imposter syndrome, is that nowadays you do not need educational qualifications to start most things, especially from speaking from my background, AI. We're seeing a lot of AI consulting firms, consultants with no educational background, just people who know the business and know the know-how of how AI can accelerate the process. Okay. So let's sort of zoom out for a bit. Let's look at the top skills for 2025 to 2030. So we can see that, AI is a big thing. AI and big data, but it's not about the coding, like I said. It's about understanding these applications and how they fit within the business, right? And it's all about driving value with these technologies. You need to know what's possible, what use cases exist, and where these apply. Next, creative thinking. So this is what AI can't replace, right? The ability to generate novel ideas, to connect disparate concepts, and really to understand, what are the problems we face as people, because that's what technology is about, accelerating and improving people's lives. Next is analytical judgment, right? AI can give you options, but it's entirely up to you to make the decisions. So this is when we walk into the areas of sort of ethics and nuance. Fourth is resilience and flexibility, because the whole world is all about evolution, right? If you're someone who's able to connect the dots, but also see where things might be going and be in the position to learn and to be curious, this is a skill that will be success, that would make you a success in whatever that you do. Now, cybersecurity is a big thing. Now with AI, where information is mass produced and it accelerates things, new things are being created, security is non-negotiable. So even for myself as a data scientist, what I look at when I'm building these applications, AI-powered applications, is how can I build securely as a data scientist, right? So it's all about shifting security within my development work rather than leaving it for someone else to think about. So that's just an example of how you can sort of combine skills if you're looking at future-proofing your career. Data literacy is another one which is quite important, and it goes beyond, knowing how to use Excel. It's about understanding the digital ecosystems, right? What are these cloud platforms? What are these collaboration tools? Which of these are used in organizations? What sort of pros and cons come with each of them? That is quite important. And then we see leadership and social influence. This is when you're really bringing the human in, right? AI can't negotiate, it can't read a room, it can't inspire a team. This is an important skill. And just remember, technology is about improving people's lives. And then curiosity and lifelong learning. If you know how to learn, you are future proof, right? Everything else is just content that you can learn. So find out, what ways that you learn best in, and really try to apply that no matter what your situation, whether you're pivoting or whether you're looking for an additional skill to add to your existing skills. Now, I speak about this so passionately because I initially didn't work in tech. I wasn't a data scientist. My first degree was law, and I worked as a paralegal, reviewing lots of boring legal documents. But what I found in that was, here's a process of what I do as a paralegal. But hold on, I'm noticing all of this data coming through, but no one's really recording it. So then that started with me recording the data. And then from that data collection, I was able to see patterns. Oh, okay, so this is what's happening in this legal file. This is what's happening over here, right? And that helped me make decisions. And then that also fueled my curiosity. If this is what's happening within the process, then what happens if I change XYZ? Made the change, saw improvements, maybe I didn't see improvements, so sort of went back to the drawing board. I share this to say, and it says on the slide, that pivoting or starting out isn't about abandoning your existing skills and experience. It's all about how you leverage them in your new context, right? So in my experience, I had to learn new skills. That meant spending evenings learning, and I'll touch on learning aspect of things, right? I had to position myself credibly, right? So if I read articles, sort of sense checking it with my mentors at work. And that also helps you build your confidence, right? And the more confident you get at something, the more you do it and the more experienced you get. So every experience that you've had in your industry, knowledge, or your part-time job, your soft skills, and your network, those are assets that you can use in your new direction. And you will hear this in all the sessions that are to come. Ensure that you're taking notes and you're also connecting with the speakers. So I spoke about pivoting or maybe making a change. So I sort of thought, okay, so there might be 3 types of pivoting, right? If we're looking at this current tech landscape, you're either someone who's looking for a new role, the same role, but in a different industry. So that's what I did when I pivoted from law into fast-moving consumer goods. Or you're someone who's looking for a new role, but within the same industry. So you want to leverage your industry experience, but sort of look at a different skill within that. Or maybe you're type 3, right? You're looking to do a full pivot, which means a whole new industry, whole new skill. So I want to know in the chat, are you a type 1, type 2, or type 3? Okay, I can see type 2, new role, same industry. Type 1, excellent, excellent, excellent. Type 2, perfect. So we can see a diverse range of types here. And this is what we're seeing in the current tech landscapes as new technologies come to disrupt processes, to evolve roles. We're seeing these new roles are being created. Maybe some roles are entirely new, or some roles are changing the way in which they work. And this is the current landscape. So I want to say this piece on transferable skills. I want to know in the chat if you are someone who's trying to enter, for example, or you're pivoting. I want you to share one skill that you think would be sought after, no matter where it is that you want to work in. So I know for mine was pattern recognition. I loved patterns. I love data, and that helped me transition. Yes, stakeholder management is so important. At the end of the day, you can have the expertise in the technical side of things, but if you cannot communicate, especially communicating value, then that's going to leave you in a sort of sore spot. Perfect. So I want to leave you with a framework called Compass. And this is kind of like a 6-step process, maybe 5-step, missing an S there, but you could repeat the last S. So whether you're type 1, 2, or 3, this framework works, okay? So what does Compass stand for? So C, you want to start from a position of, clarity, right? Clarify, what pivot type you're doing. What's your goal, right? Get crystal clear. Not work in tech, but maybe you could become a solutions architect in healthcare, or lead an AI implementation for retail companies. Specificity is power. Then you want to own your story, right? This is where you take stock of every transferable skill within your target role. Then you can sort of create a narrative where, for example, you could say, I spent 2 years in retail operations, which means I understand these inventory systems, customer behavior, and seasonal demand. And that's exactly what an e-commerce platform needs, right? So it's all about taking stock of your skills and sort of reframing it to suit the direction you want to go in. M, that's for master one stack. I made this mistake and I'll talk about it later. Do not just try to learn skills kind of like you're collecting Pokemon, like you learn Python, you learn JavaScript, you learn SQL, you learn React, you learn some other language, right? You need focus, and that's where the clarity is going to help you. You just pick one path and go deep. If you want to be a data analyst, you focus in SQL and Python. If you want to be a web developer, maybe pick to React or Vue, but not both, right? You can start with one, and really understanding one will help you understand others, right? Now, I really am a champion of this. I tell everyone, create a portfolio. And it doesn't need to be perfect, right? You can start building real projects now. So project doesn't mean it needs to be a technical sort of file. It could even be an analysis of news that you've seen to show your, for example, business analysis skills, your research skill, seeing the dots between patterns. It could be as easy as you're writing a newsletter to showcase your understanding of topical issues in industry. The A, that's for activating your network. Do you know who you have in your network currently? Type a yes or no in the comments. When it comes to job, especially career pivots, these come through conversations. I remember having several conversations with people around me. And so when the right opportunity came, they knew that I was ready. They knew exactly what I was doing, so they could advocate for me. Now, I'm challenging you over the next few weeks, conduct 10 to 15 informational interviews, right? It could be you send a message to someone, I'm transitioning into tech, or I want to get into tech, or I want to be a business analyst in healthcare, right? I love 20 minutes to understand your journey. Use LinkedIn, see who's in the role that you want to do, and just send that message. And people love talking about themselves, and you gain a lot of intelligence, not just from the roles that they're doing, but within the industry, which is important. Next, signal. You want to signal consistently. So like I said, commenting on LinkedIn posts, creating posts, commenting on articles, sharing your learning journey, that is invaluable. Now, that's something that I did internally within the company that I was working. So then this made it easier for me to be visible, right? So when they had an opportunity for me to pivot, then they thought of me because I was always top of mind. Now, I did mention this pitfall you should avoid, especially when you're looking at the landscape and thinking of how you should prepare. Do not fall into tutorial hell, right? This is where you're buying so many courses or workbooks and you just don't have the time, right? Just focus on one thing. You could even break it down into achievable chunks, right? That could be project management skill that you learn, right? So you don't want to learn whilst building nothing. Showcase what you're learning, show people what you understand, ask questions on what you don't understand. Number 2 is trying to learn everything. I did this mistake, right? I was like, I need to learn all these data science algorithms, and then ended up not being very experienced in either. Now, this leads to burnout. You need to protect your mental health, your energy, physical health as well. Pick one thing, get good at it, then expand, right? And number 3 is waiting until you feel ready. Here's a secret that you won't know until you're on the other side of it. Imposter syndrome doesn't go away when you're qualified. I still get it all the time. That's why I'm always curious about what I don't know. and just taking that extra step to prepare, right? Done is better than perfect. So please don't feel like you have to be ready before you start, right? If you see a role that's beyond what you want to apply for, but you think that is within reach within a few months, then go for it, right? And also that helps you sort of scope out the landscape. So now is the time, depending on what direction you want to go into. This tech landscape is ever so much evolving. We've seen like the rise in remote working, although some employers are requesting that employees work from the office. But these opportunities exist. You need to look for them, right? There's not just full-time working, there's also contracting. And I'm not sure if any of the other speakers are going to speak about it, but there's the entrepreneurship route, there's the training route. There's so many different ways in which you can express your skills within the market. So these skills, they're more necessary than ever, the skills you have today, and they won't be sufficient in 5 years' time, which is why now is the time to learn. Now is the time to pivot. There is not going to be any stigma around whether you're too old or whether you're not qualified. Those barriers are low to non-existent, right? So the real question is, can I do this? Actually, the real question isn't, can I do this? It is, when will I start? And I challenge you to start now. So after this, I want to know what you're going to do after the whole day of attending sessions. Let me know in the chat. Are you going to do 1, 2, 3, or all 3, or all 4 of them? Let me know in the chat. Oh, excellent, excellent. I love that, Joanna. 1 and 3. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I love that. And I hope that, these numbers aren't fear-mongering, but show you that the opportunity is available. You can read about all of these reports online. But I don't know if we have time for questions. You can reach me on LinkedIn. I will also be starting a Substack if you'd like to find out more about AI. But thank you so much for your energy and for having me. Thank you so much, Alana.
Thank you so much, Wendy. That was such a great session. I know I've taken something from it. I liked when you said done is better than perfect, and we should just start with one thing. And I think it's really hard at the moment. And there's actually a question in the chat, if we are okay to take that one. And it's Jonathan, and he says, for people who feel overwhelmed by how fast AI and tech is evolving, how do you recommend they stay relevant without burning out? And you touched on that, wanting to do everything.
Yeah.
So how do we stay relevant but still not burn out when it comes to the current landscape?
That is a good question. As a data scientist, someone who works in AI, I'm just like, okay, this weekend I need to spend some time on Claude. This weekend I need to try OpenClaw or whatever it is. So many names and so many things. But here's where the real secret punch is. Really understand the industry. The industries that are about to get disrupted, or whatever industry you want to work in, because the problems will remain, right? Understand the processes, understand even the people, right? What are the concerns? What would help them do their jobs better? Because there's always going to be another tool that comes in, right? So if you understand the problem, you can actually assess with the solutions available which would fit best, right? And AI can help you learn as well, right? You can ask AI, what's the best AI for this? Can you sort of give me top 3? You could always do that, but you can't really ask AI to tell you what people are feeling or what their problems are, right? You only know by speaking to people. And I think the human connection is the way that you stay grounded, with how fast and how fastly things are changing now. But also getting a mentor will help you ground yourself so you're not chasing every tool that gets released every other week.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. I think that's really insightful. And then I think we just take one more question that is in the chat. And of course, you can reach out to Wendy and we'll be sharing her details with you post the event. But they've asked, how do I focus on one thing and go deep without feeling like I am wasting time and not getting jobs? So how do you focus?
That is a great question. Something that I have tried personally, I won't ever say something I haven't tried. Something that I've tried is actually having a mentor and building that relationship with a mentor, because they can help you focus yourself, right? Or they could say, actually, maybe you're focusing on the wrong things. And how do you focus on one thing and go deep without feeling like you're wasting time? Get clarity on what you want. That's the main thing. You just don't learn skills because everyone's learning them. But what do you want to use those skills for? What do you want to be known for? And what does your life look like? Are you someone who enjoys working as a permanent employee? Or are you someone who wants that little bit more freedom, but with a bit more risk, right? Then maybe entrepreneurship might be for you if you like creating things, but really getting that clarity on what you want. And the tech landscape is more than, permanent jobs, right? There's also entrepreneurships and contracting.
Amazing. Thank you, Wendy. You've been absolutely great. And we look forward to welcoming you, I'm sure, again soon.